with another recap of both the AFC and NFC championship games. I'm also gonna be talking some NBA a little bit for the time being as well. Talk about Steph Curry making history into the top 20 all-time scorers. I'll talk about that in a minute as well. But first, we're gonna talk about the AFC championship game that happened yesterday in a low-scoring defensive battle. The New England Patriots find a way to end up only putting 3 points in the second half on the board after the game was tied at 7 in the first two halves, the first two quarters. They end up winning 10-7. For Drake May did not have the best game at all. He was 10 of 21 for 86 yards and one rushing touchdown. He rushed 10 times for 66 yards. Ramondre Stevenson had 25 carries for 71 yards. The leading receiver was Stephon Diggs. He had 4 receptions for 53 yards. No receiving touchdowns. But the story was the New England Patriots defense, as they held the Denver Broncos to only 189 yards of total offense. And they forced a couple of turnovers, a turnover on downs, a late game interception, as you see from Jarrett Stidham, to ends up throwing on a post route to Marvin Mims, but Christian Gonzalez jumps in front of the pass, picks it off, and to seal the game for the New England Patriots. Now, a lot of people are going to ask me, what do I think? Did the Patriots deserve to be in this kind of position? You know, did they luck their way up and get into it? But I'm like, you got to realize the postseason has always been about luck. You got to find ways to get lucky, to luck your way into a Super Bowl, and they've done that. You know, even from the Brady post, even in the pre-Brady Belichick era to post-Brady Belichick Robert Kraft-led era, with Mike Vrabel, with Junior Seau, Richard Seymour, Ellis Hobbs, and Ty Law, they found their way to luck up and win and get to the Super Bowl. That's just how they do it at the end of the day. And so you just gotta find ways to win and find ways to make plays, be dynamic on the offensive side on the offensive side and defensive side of the ball. And like I said, the Patriots defense had gap integrity, was gap sounding. They slowed down Jarrett Stidham in the second half. They make adjustments. They rushed with only 4, and then had delayed pressures and corner blitzes whenever they can see it to get after Jarrett Stidham, to hurry up his time in the pocket, hurry up his clock in his head, and hurry up that Broncos offensive line, who've been really stout and really decent and really good all year. But they knew that they don't trust the Denver Broncos receiving core if they started using a lot of man coverage, and that's what they did. They did a lot of man coverage instead of getting out of that zone, and it confused Jarrett Stidham and that Broncos offense, and they couldn't find ways to get the ball down the field. And without that trust, it made their offense and it made their core it made the Broncos offense very stagnant, very consequentially limited. And with the lack of running game from R.J. Harvey and Jaleel McLaughlin, they didn't have no kind of answer to withstand the drives and the moves of the Patriots defense to get them off their stride. And also the inclement weather really played a factor in this one, because the weather conditions, it was like 24 degrees, and when it feels like 12 degrees down in Maha, Colorado, but the wind chill rose from being -2 degrees all the way up to negative 6 degree wind chill, which is the wind gust was coming at exactly 30-something miles per hour. Like, it was coming very high, very hard. So it's cold. It was very wet. It was very slippery. It was very slippery out there. Guys wasn't keeping their footing and their tracking in the snowy weather conditions. So it made the game unfairly not adjustable for that young Broncos core offense. And you can tell that they really miss Bo Nix. The Broncos offense really missed Bo Nix because their receivers wasn't really making a whole lot of plays. They couldn't find nothing to generate their offense. They couldn't run the football. And Jarrett Stidham, whatever he did try to run and make some yards, it just wasn't enough. And although they forced a lot of stops defensively on the Patriots, held them to 10 points, Drake May's legs kept that Patriots offense and making a lot of drives, keeping the game alive. just enough for them to be put in some good field position, to be put in good field position. That's what really made. Those are the things that would really made the difference. Was Drake May's legs, the running game of Ramondre Stevenson, Henderson with a few carries here and there, and also, like I said, because of his legs and because of him extending drives and extending plays, and the Patriots defense slowing the run game down for the Broncos, which they couldn't have, and using a lot of man coverage because the Broncos just couldn't find a way to break separation and get open, even on third, and force them into a lot of third and longs. They just didn't have enough in the tank, and they don't have enough speed or explosiveness in their playmakers in the receiving game to really put them over the top, in my opinion. So those are the things that really took a back and what really took the game away from me, and why the Patriots advanced to Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara to face off against the Seattle Seahawks. So tell me what you guys think about what happened in the AFC Championship game. Tell me what you guys think about what went on. But that was the difference to me, was the Patriots disguising they're disguising their man and zone coverages. Did a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 3 introvert, cover 4 quarters. And then they end up doing a lot of all zero blitzes. Didn't certain times. You end up doing a lot of 4-4s, a lot of 4-3s. You know, kind of confusing disguise. Sometimes you put Ellis or Robert Spillane, who when he came back out there after him getting injured, into the blue medical tent, and came back out after being replaced at one point by Gibbons. And he came back and made a huge impact in that second half defensively to put the Patriots over the top. But everybody's going to talk about Drake May, how Drake May has not been playing well in the playoffs, because of his fumbles. He had 5 turnovers, 5 fumbles. But he didn't throw he didn't throw any interceptions. And that was the thing. He didn't turn a football over in this game. And he didn't really, besides those 2 fumbles, he didn't throw an interception in the game against the Texans. So it wasn't like he was turning the ball over and throwing it all around the yard. It was the fact that the teams people was not expecting, fans was not expecting the Patriots to even get this far. Even I didn't expect them to get this far whatsoever. I thought there was maybe a year and a half or 2 away. I thought they was gonna be a year and a half, a year or 2 away. But in my eyes, I just feel that the all right, sorry about that, guys. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, I didn't think the Patriots were gonna get this far into the postseason, even getting to the Super Bowl at the time. Earlier on in the year, early on in the week, if you would have asked me, the Patriots team led by a second-year quarterback in Drake May with a first time head coach stint in this organization with Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels if you would have asked me and told me that they would have been able to make it to the Super Bowl, I would have told you guys that y'all are insane. I did not think that would even be possible. Not to say that I don't think they don't have a good defense or that be the case or whatnot. I just thought because of the younger squad and that younger core, I would have thought they would been a year and a half, a year or 2 away. But I was been proven on the other side. I've been proven wrong because of the fact that they've just honestly been growing. They've been growing and growing every single year. Yeah, but I would say with Brock Purdy, Mabobo getting it in, I would say more or less that was Kyle Shanahan and the defensive coaching staff, from Robert Spillane, and I forget that other defensive coordinator that they had after him. I cannot remember his name, but I think that was the reason. Those were the reasons why they were there and what they did. And plus, Brock Purdy was in a system. He was in a system organization. He wasn't the sole driving force. Like I said, you had a Christian McCaffrey, a Deebo Samuel, and a Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. So he had a system led in what they've done. So I think that was it was different circumstances. The Patriots don't have those kind of the Patriots don't have those kind of playmakers besides Stephon Diggs, veteran presence. They don't have those kind of backs, and they don't have those kind of players, that are as like notable or wide known or dynamic like that. So that would be the difference, and why I say this is a different circumstance, a different situation. So yeah, but yeah, those are my thoughts. About how or what the Patriots did yesterday. Those are my thoughts. The Broncos, if they had Bo Nix in this game, because that's the one thing the Patriots I don't think they have seen yet. They haven't seen a quarterback with mobility that can scramble, that can get out of the pocket, use his legs, and go for a dive or first downs. Herbert couldn't do it. C.J. Stroud couldn't do it. I think if they had Bo Nix in this game, I think Bo Nix probably would have been the X factor in this one. And also having J.K. Dobbins, I think those injuries were big injuries that hurt this Broncos offense. They couldn't sustain drives to get down the field. And that was their main problem. That was their big main problem, in my opinion. And so that's going to really put them in a hole. So hopefully next year, and also going forth on 4th and 1 inside the Patriots' own 9-yard line, when you could have kicked the points because of the inclement weather and could have been up 10-0 with all the momentum in your favor. You kind of got a little bit greedy if you're Sean Payton. He's going to think about that going to the offseason and probably regret him going for it on that down and not being able to trust your offense down the stretch and down into late game situations. So those are my thoughts about the Patriots and Seahawks right there. Tell me what you guys think about that game. And let me move on to the Seahawks and Rams. Now, this is the game I really want to talk about the most. All right. Now, this is the game I want to talk about the most because this was an absolute classic. An absolute classic game on epic proportions between the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams. Holy cow, was this a great game back and forth. The reason why, and before I get to the Seattle Seahawks and giving them a whole lot of credit, let me just start off by saying the LA Rams played a tremendous game on the offensive side of the ball. Matt Stafford had 374, it's 25 of 36, 374 and 3 touchdowns. Puka Nacua had 26 yards on 9 catches and a touchdown. Devontae Adams had 5 receptions for over 100 yards and a touchdown. That core was just unbelievable. Blake Corum came in there and did a good job, having 9 carries for 55 yards. The Rams did all and everything that they could to keep themselves in this game. Their offense was just absolutely tremendous. They did a lot of good things. But before then, their defense in the secondary and their special teams, like I said all year, has been a main problem with them. And it showed in a real ugly head. I mean, you fired your special teams coach a couple weeks before the end of the regular season. So that just lets you know that special teams been a problem, and the fact that they got rid of them before the regular season and then got a new guy, new special teams coach was a big problem. And it reared its ugly head, in this game with a muff punt that put the Seahawks in the opportunity for them to put some points on the board and score, and they did. Now let's go to the Seattle Seahawks and Clint Kubiak. Mike McDonald and Sam Darnold did an amazing job calling this game. Down the line, down to the T. Their running game was really, really on point and potent in the first half. Second half, they kind of went away a little bit. They kind of relied a lot on the heavy pass game with Sam Darnold, but he was having such a hot night, getting Jackson Smith and Jigba involved. He had 10 catches for 154 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp had a solid game. Rashid Shaheed had a big play earlier on in the game with a 52-yard reception. The Seahawks overall offensively was dynamic as all get out. The Rams had no answers for that offensive core. They had no answers to slow down Sam Darnold. They had no answers to slow down the passing game whatsoever. Even if they did have design coverages or design packages, Jackson Smith and they was finding ways to be creative with Smith and Jigba lining them on the left side and the right side of him in the backfield. Whether he do reverse pitches, jet pitches, or whether they have him lining up on the other side and getting him in motion, or a lot of them in the slot. They found ways to get Jackson Smith and Jigba the ball because that's just how dynamic of a receiver he is. Yeah, they just had no answers. And like I said, the secondary for the Rams been plaguing them a problem. It was a huge problem in this one, and really put them out of commission right there. So if I was the LA Rams, I would go and look at the secondary. Now Seattle Seahawks are going to face the New England Patriots, as my prediction was reign true in the Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara. And Sam Darnold has pretty much right the wrongs, right the ship, and has exercised his demons that was plaguing him in that early wild card game last year against the Rams and late game in the regular season against the Detroit Lions. And being in two crappy organizations in the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers, all of that has been put behind him because now he has a chance to go win himself his first Super Bowl with a core like Cooper Kupp, who's going to have a chance to win his second Super Bowl with two different teams in the same division. It's crazy when you think about it. And the same thing with Ernest Jones, defensive side of the ball. So let's talk about them because they also made some key stops in this game. They made some really key stops in the second half. They limit the Rams in the second half in the running game. Held Kyren Williams to 10 carries for 39 yards. They made them one-dimensional. Had to rely on Matt Stafford to pull them through, to get them close in the game. But that late 4th and 4 call that the Rams did is they disguised. They looked like they was about to send all the rushers in, but they end up backing out of that blitz combination package, and they end up getting all of their jam receivers in coverage. He couldn't find Puka. He couldn't find Skoranek nor Humphrey. So he ended up throwing at the last minute to Skoranek, and it ended up almost getting picked off. So, but that just lets you know the Seahawks was ready for it all the way through. Their defense was well prepared, well timed. They made the key stops when they made them. Yeah, they gave up over 460-some yards of total offense. But they were 7 of 13 on the offensive side. They were 7 of 13 on third down. And they held the Rams to 1 and 8 on third down defensively, which put them at so many great odds. And that's the reason why they lost the game, was the lack of third down conversions for the Rams. And the Seahawks was able to convert on their third downs, get it in the third and manageable. They were able to run with Kenneth Walker. They're going to have a little bit of issues in the pass protection because there's no Zach Charbonnet. And he's going to be out for the rest of the playoffs, so that's going to be a big blow. But hopefully they can find ways to get the ball out of Sam Darnold's hands because the Patriots rushers will be coming at him. They'll be coming at him with some different angles. Chason, Harold Landry, Milton Williams, they're going to be coming at him with different angles. So it's going to be a differentiating of a ball game to try to keep them afloat. So I wouldn't be too celebratory right now. I would just take it one game at a time if I'm the Seahawks, knowing that the Patriots, don't underestimate them because they can actually make it harder on you. And the way that they played in this game against the Rams is a microcosm and a cognizant of what they're gonna do when it in a couple weeks in Santa Clara in February. So a great win for the Seattle Seahawks. Puts them in the driver's seat. They're 4.5-point favorites over the Patriots, and well deserved to be. And after this big time win at home, Mike Macdonald, Clint Kubiak, and Sam Darnold proved all the doubters, the naysayers that didn't believe in them wrong. deserving to be the number one seed and deserving to go further in the playoffs into the Super Bowl. So I cannot wait to see what these things are going to happen. Now, in my prediction for the Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Seahawks is pretty simple. The Seahawks are going to blow them out. Like, I just think that their defense is going to be too much with Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed, DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be too much. Ernest Jones, Imawaru is underrated. He's a very underrated young corner. He's going to be a young secondary, strong safety player. He's going to get talked about a lot. Going to be a key X factor in the Super Bowl, and trying to slow down the passing game, trying to slow down the running game. He's going to be an X factor in this one with Julian Love. Tariq Woolen's got to be more disciplined and sound because you gave the Rams an extra opportunity to score. That's going to be, you got to have to be disciplined and more sound than that, because when you're playing the Patriots, you cannot give up make those kind of penalties at an inopportune time. You got to be sound. You got to be sound minded. You got to be disciplined if you're him. So I think the Seahawks will be able to blow them out. I don't think they're going to underestimate them and not take them seriously. They're going to take them very seriously. They're not going to get too cute, too fancy, or too conservative. They're going to play just right, and I think they're going to wipe the floor with them. I see them winning at least, I say 27 to probably 13, maybe 27 to 14, somewhere around that range. I just think they're going to be I just think this is a bad matchup for the Patriots. It's a bad matchup on both sides. I don't think they're going to have anybody to slow down Shaheed or Jackson Smith-Njigba, and which nobody has really slowed him down all year. So that's what I believe is going to happen. So tell me what you guys think down in the comment section below, and also tell me what your guys' top five playoff moments of all time, and tell me what your guys' tell me your guys' top 5 favorite NFC Championship games and top 5 favorite Super Bowl games and moments, and tell me why down in the comment section. I'll make it interesting down below so we can get a discussion going. But all right, that is my quick predictions for that and recap of them. So the last thing I want to talk about all right, the last thing I want to talk about is, of course, Steph Curry. Last night I was watching the game in the win over the Timberwolves as he passed in a top 20 all-time scorer list, passing John Havlicek, as the Warriors did win that game last night. Golden State Warriors guard Steph Curry has been filled with several milestones and memorable moments. The latest milestone came Sunday when Curry entered the NBA history books as a top 20 all-time scorer. He had 26 points, 7 assists, and 4 steals in 28 minutes of play during a 111-85 victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. During the game, Curry passed John Havlicek 26,395 points for 20 all-time on the all-time list, and is tied for Paul Pierce for 19th with 26,397 career points. He will chase San Antonio Spurs legend Tim Duncan for 18th place. The Warriors will play the Timberwolves on Monday, January 25th. as Curry is questionable for the game after some knee soreness on Sunday. And of course, the all-time score leaders. You already know about LeBron, Kareem, Karl Malone, Kobe, and Mike. Kevin Durant just entered the 6th spot. James Harden's in 9th. You got Dirk, Will Chamberlain. Now, of course, Steph Curry with 26,397 points. So, yeah, man, that just goes to show you that when you're going to start creating these top 10 all-time players lists, you're going to have to make a lot of readjustments, especially when you're going to assess and analyze Steph Curry, because he's entering a lot of all-time territory, setting career milestones, several milestones, breaking records. And he's doing it all without one of the services of Jimmy Butler, as I talked about the other day, with Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, and the rest of the other role players that's on with him, man. So, and he stayed with one organization, continued to stay with one organization throughout his time, and played with Steve Kerr, and has played under Steve Kerr coaching regimen, and it's just a really good thing to see. And also, like I said, being one of the more versatile guards, combo guards, from being point and two guard to ever play the game, it's hard to really imagine, for anybody who didn't see him and watch him when he was at Davidson, how he was ever going to get to this point. I knew he was going to be able to get to this point because, like I said, he's very versatile, very dynamic. He can play with off the ball. He's one of the better off the ball scorers in the game, to go along with Kyrie Irving as well. You don't need to have the ball in your hands in order to create your own shot and get involved and really get inside and attack. And that's the thing that really is really impressive at taking it back. So you got to give him a lot of credit for even doing so, because of the fact he's doing it with, like I said, with less of the stars, without Klay Thompson, less services of Draymond Green. And then you end up picking Al Horford, from the Celtics, and he hasn't really provided that much of a spark anyways. He hasn't even really been playing that much. So, yeah, this just adds to the point of the dynamic tree he's done, and also doing it without the services of Kevin Durant as well. So you got to give him a lot of credit and put him in several big discussions when it's all said and done as soon as he retires. And he's not going to be in the league for too long. So I would just say, for a lot of fans, a lot of current fans, a lot of older heads, you gotta appreciate Steph Curry and when it's time said and done, when it's all said and done, in a different light. So, and he's only getting better and better as his career goes on, and only getting older as his career goes on. So, better in while when the moment his time is lasting, because, like I said, KD, LeBron, Curry, all of these guys are going to be gone. James Harden as well. They're all going to be gone. They're all going to be out of the league at some point, and the new crop and the new era of players. And when they start to come along, are you going to be doing the same thing to say, like, SGA, Nikola Jokic, Giannis? All these guys are coming along, and Luka Doncic, all these guys are coming along. What is it going to say for the most modernized of the game? And at the end of the day, what is it going to say about the effort and how you judge and assess players? Can you really judge and assess players in a way where it feels like they could be elevated from stature? And if you do knock any guys off the top 10, who do you knock off? Whether it be somebody who will probably have Shaq or Raheem or Kobe or whoever, which I don't think none of them are going to probably be knocked out for certain fans, according to certain fans. But some fans and some people already have Curry in their top 10, because he's a four-time NBA champion, a Finals MVP, a two-time league MVP, an All-Star Game MVP. He's a 11-time All NBA selection. I don't think he's been selected on defensive teams, and his PER rating is in the top 10 of PER, player efficiency rating. So that goes to show you that he's definitely entered different amount of league territory. So you got to give it up to him. He's definitely elevated his stature, elevated his status. But yeah, those are my thoughts on everything of my topics that I'm covering. I want to thank you all for watching, the ones who are watching, and the ones who like, share, and subscribe, who always been doing that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Wanted to grow the channel, so yeah, thank you guys for that. And those are my thoughts on the whole about Steph Curry joining the elite class, and of course the recap of the AFC and NFC championship games. Let me know down in the comment section. Also, in this topic, where do you rank Curry at in your all-time list of players, and also rank him in the all-time list of guards, whether you think of him as a point guard, whether you rank him in that class. So let me know about all these things down in the comment section. I am getting on out of here. All right, I'm out. Peace.